Welcome everybody, welcome to Flat Earth Philosophy. This is another lesson, physics lesson, in how the universe works. The actual physics, not the stuff you hear on TV, on the YouTube, at school. All falsely told, all imagination. Equations made up to suit their great imaginations. I'm prompted to do this video because I just saw another physics video sponsored by Brilliant. Well, if that's what Brilliant means, then we all live in a brilliant mental asylum. Because that's what it's all about, being mental, not consciously awake. I'm about to explain how the universe works. The sun, the planets, the moon, how it all works. And it's all based on one central vortex, one motion. Not half a dozen like science likes to explain. And even some guys following me query the fact that, that the sun's doing one thing, there must be another motion with the moon doing its thing. No. Now I've shown this in a video using my whiteboard before, and but I know how a lot of these people on YouTube, they sit around and just talk, and you look at their numbers, they have a lot of numbers. I'm thinking, well, maybe people don't understand my pictures, so I'll try and talk my way through it without thinking about trying to draw pictures. So I might get out a little bit better for some people, explain it a little bit better. So you have to understand the central vortex, the unseen vortex beyond the event horizon, like science tells us. We can't see it. It's hidden above the Arctic. Check out my flat earth models. It's all hidden in there. Now, the sun, everything works because the sun moves in a small circle. It's on like the inside track of the ecliptic plane. But the center point is the black hole. So the sun moves around the black hole just as all the planets move around the black hole. They're all circular. There's no ellipses. Just because the sun's there, and science focuses on the sun and uses that as a reference point, doesn't mean things are elliptical. No. The sun is on the circle, just as the planets are. Now the sun goes around the black hole, and the black hole is classed as what a lot of flat earthers call the black sun. There's no black sun, there's only one sun. You've got the black hole, because everything, the base of everything is black. Nothingness. So there's your blackness. So, and it's all about frequencies, right? It's all our chemical reactions up there too, in the gaseous layers. But it's all based on frequencies in water. And obviously magnetism. Now, the sun going around the black hole governs the motion of the moon, what the moon is doing. So if the sun's come around this side of the black hole, then daylight is opposite, across the hole, because the black hole amplifies our realm. It comes out from the sun. All the frequencies come across the black hole. Consider the black hole as the amplifier. The frequencies are all in the sun. So there's daylight opposite the hole. And that is where the new moon will be, opposite the sun. Okay, because in the sun's light, you don't see it. That's why we don't see it. So wherever the sun is shining on the moon, we do not see it. That's phasing. The sun's not shining on the part of the moon that we see. No, that's not. It's the cold side. And it's all governed by the black hole at the center, dividing them. And because the sun moves, it's causing the sun to move in, the moon to move in or out. So the further the sun moves ahead of the moon by 52 minutes a day, the more the sun wanders out across the elliptic plane. You could say the magnetic, science calls it gravity, don't they? The gravitational pull. you could say. We'll just use that, okay? So the further the sun moves ahead, the more the moon will move out. But the moon's going around Earth every day. We can see it with our own eyes. We see the sun go around every day. We see most of the planets, and when we don't see the planets, they're in the light of the sun. So the sun's raced ahead of the moon, which it does. After new moon, the sun pulls away and leaves the moon behind. So leaving the moon behind allows that lion's claw to appear, the crescent of the moon to appear on the cold side. Okay? So the sun races away. So as the sun moves away, the moon's spiralling out. It's further away from the sun. So it moves out across the ecliptic plane, goes right out to Saturn. And then as the sun catches up to it again, because the sun laps the moon over 1 month, it does 2 to 1. Science knows there's a 2 to 1 in the system. That's one of the 2 to 1s. The other 2 to 1 is the sun lapping the stars over a whole year. But anyway, so as the sun starts catching up to the moon starts coming back in. And then the sun comes around the back of it, or in front of it, whichever way you're looking at it. The black hole's in the centre here. The sun comes around, and then you've got new moon again. You do not see the moon. So all the phasing is governed by the black hole. It's that simple. It's all governed by the black hole. Peering around the corner. Peering around the black hole. So when the sun... so the sun's, imagine it facing across the black hole like this. And when it races around, at one point, the moon, because the sun's reflecting that way, the full moon actually sits behind the sun. So the sun's racing around. So if it's opposite, you've got new moon. And then it races around, or halfway through the cycle. Oh, the sun's on the inside. Halfway through the cycle, the sun will catch up. It's now facing this way, isn't it? It's facing across the black hole this way. And the new moon will be there behind the sun. So they're right there. It's only when it's opposite the black hole you've got new moon. And this is where the solar eclipses come into it, see? You've got the black hole. So you've got the sun, you've got the black hole, you've got the new moon over here. So what's happening? An alchemical reaction. Or, it's based on frequencies, but Mercury comes along. Mercury's there, and it's to do with the amount, what frequencies you see. Mercury cancels out, takes away the frequencies. I haven't got this on the top of my head actually. Cancels out a frequency for the sun. The sun has to have all the frequencies. And apparently that Mercury comes along and cancels it out. This alignment cancels out. It's only on that alignment, because the sun's still shining on the rest of the earth, isn't it? It's only that beam, that shadow, it lines up and it cancels out the frequencies. The sun's not getting them. It's a deep story. It's a long one, that one, because the moon gives 1/7. There's 1/7 of the total frequencies or something or other. I've done earlier videos on it, but I can't remember now. But it's the alignment of Mercury, and it could actually be another one with what's the other one? Mercury. Can't even think. Probably because I've drank a glass of beer. Yeah, okay, the other planet. Just can't even think. Anyway, so that's what happens, it's an alignment. Then you have to realise it's not a dead straight alignment. because the magnetic fields that come off the centre of creation are curved. So it's in this curve. But you go out in a solar eclipse, you won't see Mercury because it's in the light of the sun, like the moon is. But you track it with stellium or whatever, you'll see that Mercury's coming in close and then it's not there. Just before, just after a solar eclipse, you don't see it. It's tucked in behind. It's in the light of the sun. It's in that alignment. So I'm the only guy in the whole world who's come up with this, who's figured this out, and it just all adds up. I can make everything fit. So I'm not getting any of these physicists or science wannabes saying I haven't got a model anymore, because I've got a model, I've got it all, I've got the whole thing. I haven't computerised it because I'm not into computers and I don't have a computerised brain. But if all the guys with brains came to me, I could help them create the model. But they're all paid by the freaking liars. They're all the ones that get picked out at school. This guy's bright, we've got to bring him on our side. Don't want the truth being to get out there. So they're the ones getting paid. They don't get told the whole truth, a lot of them maybe, but they're all in on the game. It's all about this, isn't it? So that's it, guys. It's all centered on one central vortex. It's in creation. The vortex. It's all fully described in the tokamak system. Magnetic confinement. The sun is the plasma, which is actually cold fusion. It's a conductor, a semiconductor, a superconductor, superconductor floating there in the magnetic field. So it's all about, the thing is, Earth and creation are still attached. So basically Earth, the physical world, is still attached to the spiritual world, creation. But we all live in the physical world and our umbilical cord gets severed at birth. So you're then disconnected. So then you have to work your way back. It's like Wizard of Oz story, isn't it? And this is it. This is all about raising the Kundalini to get back up the mountain to return back home, because it's all up here. So this is the thing. You're cast out of the garden. As soon as the umbilical cord is cut, bang, you're out. You've got free will. You can be a dumb sheep all your life. You just have to come back and do it again. This is why the West, when they were blowing up the Middle East, they're laughing at the Muslims because they believed in reincarnation. Or the West, lying West, don't want you understanding reincarnation, because then you might just stand up and take a stand. Because you fight and die now, you're creating a better world for the next generation. Because you're coming back too. You're coming back into it. So your kids and grandchildren, it's only going to get worse if you don't stand and make a stand. Fight now. You die for the cause, as long as they get these people out. Evil, satanic, Freemason run Western governments. Well, basically China, they're all the same. I think they're all in on it. They're just a good guy, bad guy. Always playing the good guy, bad guy. It's just all evil. Until you get them out, you're going to be enslaved. And that's what it is. You're enslaved. Remember the early Anunnaki story? Slaves. Well, it's not exactly like that, but you are a slave. It's mining for gold, mining, feeding creation. That's why you go forth and multiply. That's another thing. Someone's on YouTube talking away, trying to tell you what the meaning of life is. He gives 3 reasons. Total bullshit. I thought the guy was wise. In one aspect he is, but when he talked about that, he has no idea what he's talking about. There's only one meaning to life, and it's waking this thing up. Your second birth, your spiritual birth, waking up to the real world. That's when you return home when you die. You don't get reincarnated into another bit of dumb meat. Come back to this shithole. Okay? It's not a shithole if you don't think about it, don't concentrate on it. It's your free will. You don't have to think, you have to watch the news and all that, and I suggest you don't. Get rid of your flipping TV for a starter. Live your life until they come for you. and then you make a stand. But if you're divinely woken up, you cannot kill anybody. So even if you're defending yourself, you're not to take a life. That's why they turn the other cheek. This is all referring to the person who's already woken up consciously. If he wants to get to heaven, he has to turn the other cheek. If you haven't woken up yet, you can do whatever you like. You just slab of meat till you wake this thing up. So there you have it. I don't know what I'll call this video. But the planets do circles. They're different frequencies. And when you look at, I've done a very early video on the Roman Colosseum. That's a depiction of creation. They all knew stuff like this way back then. It's tiered like this. They've drawn it oval though, but oval's only because the sun's down one end. But it's basically circular. And it's got this shield around half the stadium. That's always been like that, because that's representing the eyebrow. It's like the eye of Horus, but it's the way the sun sits in the vortex on the horizon, because the shield is representing the Milky Way, because the sun's facing this way at night. There's the Milky Way here. This is the shield. This is the Milky Way. Sagittarius A, apparently. Yeah, it just all adds up. Earth is flat. You've got to be a flippin' drongo to think you live upside down on a spinning ball, and you can do that just because of a magical word called gravity. And they don't even know what that is properly. The two forces that come together to create Earth. Bingo. 0 point. In physics, they know there's no actual 0 point. It's still the circle. There's a avoidance zone. It comes to this point like in a ring magnet. You've seen Ken Wheeler's videos of that. You know, there's the circle, hole in the middle. There's nothing goes there. That's the state of inertia, the plane of inertia. The dielectric. Earth is from there. So Earth is from there. All the actions around here, that's the toroidal field of Earth. And then we have the poloidal field. What's the poloidal field? The poloidal field on the flat Earth is the ring around the middle. That's the tropical gap. The poloidal field. And it's attached, because the sun moves around, it goes over to the centre. It's the Milky Way. It's attached to the centre of creation. That's the poloidal field. That's the electrical. So the electrical is going like this. What do you think the magnetic field's doing? Perpendicular. It's going that way. You've got the sun going like this, the magnetic field's going like this. Well, it's going over like this and up and around like this, actually. It's the figure 8. Because there's the avoidance zone. You've got the avoidance zone in creation. We've been created. So we have to have the dielectric as well. We've got the avoidance zone, which is the tropical gap. That's the dielectric plate, the gap. So the electrons, you call them, magnetic field goes like this. Up, down, each side of the tropics. Capricorn and Cancer. So there's the field. Forgot where I came from then. So, yeah, the avoidance zone. Remember, the tropical gap is the blown up version, or the whole tropical gap around the flat Earth is the whole blown up version of the ecliptic plane and that. Okay, so that's the whole model. You've got it there. It's understanding capacitance, poloidal and toroidal. So toroidal is the magnetic, poloidal is electrical. So it's going around. Now we know the sun's going around. You think it's going straight only because you've got your dome of horizon. But it's being reflected from the centre of the Earth into your dome. So every man sees an image of the sun. It's not the same image as the guy 1,000 miles away. The sun is in many places, but only seen in one. Do you see the sun on your horizon? Obviously it'll be in a different place, slightly over the arc more, the 180 degree arc. for this guy over here, or less actually, he hasn't seen it yet. You know, this guy back here's gone down, this guy's coming up, and you've got it right there. Every man has his arc of horizon. The whole Set, Horus, Osiris story. Horus, horizon. The battle with Set, setting, horizon. That's the drama. Osiris, Iris, iris of the eyes. We have the irises be deceiving us. This is the drama in that story of Horus and Set. Is it really being set over there? Is it really setting? It's not. So, what else? So I've done solar eclipses. The moon. The moon is just the moon eclipse. Moon, what do you call it? Moon eclipse? That's just, yeah, that'll involve another planet. So that's, you've got the sun there shining that way. You've got the full moon here. And you've got a planet, because the full moon is out on the furthest point of the ecliptic plane. So you've got all the planets in between. So you have a planet come around here, probably Mars. Maybe not. Could be Venus, that's the one I was thinking before. Could be Venus. And it's creating this colour on the moon. The other thing is Mars. When you look at the flat Earth design, you've got to understand, I got this from the Iliad, Mars is the centre planet, isn't it? Out from the sun. And where's the centre is the tropical gap. The Mars, the god of war. Because all the battle, that's the Battle of Troy, is up the tropical gap. And what's up the top there? There's Mars, god of war. There's all the wars there. There's lots of stories to get into about history and wars and that, but I'm keeping that aside. That's where Mars is, because you've got Mars, then Jupiter, then Saturn, haven't you? But over this side you've got Mercury, then Venus, or Venus and Mercury, in the black hole. So, get it out there, everybody. It can't be disputed. It's undebunkable. It's fact. You see it with your own eyes. You see them all go across the sky. Just because you're seeing it going straight doesn't mean it's going straight. If it's going over it's going over like a dome, you know. And then realise, you know, you've got two rotating sky rotation, northern hemisphere and the southern, come together, meet like this. They don't quite meet because there's a tropical gap. So the one thing that will be dead straight will be Orion's belt. I think they all look straight anyway. But Orion's belt drifts around the tropical gap every day of the year till the sun catches up and you lose it. You don't see it for 3 months. Then it comes out and the sun races ahead actually. So nothing's quicker than the sun. Nothing passes the sun. Nothing goes around the sun. How can it go around the sun if the sun catches up to it? So even the full moon, it's not going around the sun. The sun catches up. This is Nobel Prize. This is mind-blowing stuff. No one's ever been told this stuff. It's world first. It's change. You need to change all the science books and the Freemason liars. This is worthy of 1,000 Nobel Prizes. Give me all the money and I'll go and fund the people who need it. Spend all this money on CERN and all that sort of stuff. It's just garbage. It's just a total waste of money. You've got to realise we're the created. From the creator. We're the created. So things aren't going to work out the way they want because we're an imitation anyway. We're false. You can't take a cartoon character and make him real. Or take a cartoon character and have him design a real person, a human. This is basically what they're doing. So check out my other videos, the cold fusion, how it works, expansion, the hydrogen molecule being ripped to shreds, then being drawn into the Arctic to the choke point, contraction. Lots of things to talk about, lots of videos. I'm going to do a video on that book I just showed recently. 1 second. Gods and Myths, Ancient Egypt. Like, another world first. They don't know what the ankh represents. I'll put that on the next video. I'm the only guy in the world who knows. Amazing, isn't it? So I'll do a video on a few points in here. Well, I could do like 50 videos on this, but that'll do for now. Okay, thanks for watching, and thumbs up, share it, get it out there. Send it off to every physics teacher you know, or any of these young students who think they live on a spinning ball, and they'll swear black and blue they live on a spinning ball. Mind control, right from 5 years old. As soon as you walk into that school, the indoctrination class starts. Children, we're going to brainwash you. That's the last thing we do. We're going to lock you in to our lying system. Thumbs up.